You are now listening to the Building Her Dream podcast, where we have inspiring conversations with introverted women entrepreneurs who are building their dream lives and businesses on their own terms. Hosted by business operations strategist, author, and the founder of Building Her Dream, Shayla Burton. To learn more about this podcast and our magazine, visit www.buildingherdream.com. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I am your host, Shayla Burton, and this is the Building Her Dream podcast. I'm so excited to chat with today's guest. She is one of my peers. She's an operations expert who has helped me strategize, plan, and get my business stuff together. She is a wife, a mom, and the founder of Thrive Business Support. All the way from Houston, Texas, we have Nikki Harrison. Hi, Nikki. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing so well. Excited to connect with you today. Thanks for having me.
Yes, you're welcome. I'm so glad to have you here. Now, before we dive into talking about work and your business, do you mind if we just take a minute to dream a little bit?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so if you could wake up tomorrow and have the perfect life, what would it look like? So where would you be? What would you be doing? What's your dream?
This is a fun question. What would I be doing if I were living my dream life? I think the root of all of my dreams, well, let me start by saying I'd probably be on somebody's island somewhere with something cold,
Yes.
under the warm sun, with my boo very close and my kids not too far. But
Mhm.
I think that I would be able to enjoy that moment of peace with my family because I'd be making impact. That's the root of all of my dreams, is to really be making impact in the lives of other people. So,
Wow, I love that. That sounds very beautiful and very attainable. So, impact. Tell us, what type of work are you doing to help make an impact?
so there are a myriad of ways that I could describe what it is that I do. And when I get the question, so what do you do? I always have to kind of pause and go,
Yep.
Nikki, don't go into all the like jargon of your industry, like every other professional is prone to do sometimes. So I just simplified it in this sort of statement or phrase.
Okay.
I'm a vision steward, and I steward the visions of creatives of color. So what in the world does that mean, right? If you're churchy like me, then vision steward might have sparked a little like, oh, what is she stewarding visions? Yes, exactly. I work helping creative entrepreneurs of color achieve their dreams through strategic plans and managed resources. So that's team, that's people, that's money, that's energy, that thing that they have at their disposal. I'm helping them steward that and manage that well. So that's the work that I do.
Wow, I love that. What called you to this type of work?
Oh, man. So for as long as I can remember, I've been doing this kind of work, supporting. If I find out somebody has a dream or a goal that they want to achieve, from the time that I was a toddler, I can remember doing this with my younger sister, and my older cousins. I'm all about it. I want to be in the background. I want to cheer you on. I want to have cover the bases that you don't think about. It's just, I just feel like it is a very innate thing for me to do. um have gotten older, I've leaned into it more because I do feel like it's a God assignment. I feel like it's my calling. Everybody has a reason why they're here, kind of on
Mhm.
this earth. And I think that's mine, to support the visions of other people. It's hard. It's hard
Yeah.
having a vision, seeing a picture in your mind, and knowing that you alone are not going to be able to accomplish that vision. And it goes from there, it goes to like, well, who do I need to support me? Who can I find to support? So I'm happy to be one of those people that I feel God called me to this,
Mhm.
honestly.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So how long have you been doing this work?
all my life.
Okay.
No joke. All my life. My mom has stories 1 year old
Mm,
at shows and things like that. I would always rather be in the background helping out. But in this current phase, or in this current iteration of the work that I'm doing, it was like mid 2019, right before,
okay. Yeah.
the 2020. It was mid 2019 when I entered the online space and
Mhm.
decided that I was going to help businesses virtually outside of my immediate local Houston, Texas area. Before that, I was doing event planning and vision management locally only.
Mhm.
And I had been doing that for, again, at least 20 years. I know I don't look that old, but at least 20 years of doing the work semi-professionally, because as many servant leaders do, I wasn't requiring money. I wasn't asking for payment
Mhm.
to do this. It would be outside of my full-time job. It would be, in between being a mommy after I had my first child, or my child would just come with me. Those were the theater days that I was managing a friend who had started a theater company. So it's
Mhm.
just work. It's just like breathing. I've always done this work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've been in business, or had your business for
Hmm.
since 2019,
Yeah.
so about 4 years. How has the journey of entrepreneurship been for you? So has it been easy or like a roller coaster?
Yeah. I think any entrepreneur who says the journey has been easy, I immediately go like, oh, you're not an entrepreneur. Like, anybody
Mhm.
who's ever done this particular thing, meaning entrepreneurship, we all know easy is nowhere in the mix of it.
Right.
Fun, worth it, exciting, learning field, lesson field. It's all of that, but easy, no. So my journey also, it has not been easy. It's been a roller coaster. From what I mentioned earlier, of like doing the work, but not charging for it, not doing it as a profession. That was a tough little stretch of time and a balance that I had to evoke, because my heart is to serve people and to help people. But
Yeah.
you got to eat, you got to make a living, and you got to be, so I had to kind of come to this realization and this revelation that being on mission doesn't mean that I need to be um, some bleeding heart, like starving or take
Right.
myself and my family's resources, and charge money that I'm not serving. I had to learn that, and so many other lessons. This has been a very bumpy ride, but it's called out the best of me. Like, I can't
Right.
imagine learning some of the lessons I've learned about myself, about others, about the world, about purpose, without the journey of entrepreneurship specifically. Um,
Mhm.
so it's been all over, but it has been worth it. There's been fun. There's been
Right.
pure joy and fulfillment for sure.
Good, good. That's awesome. So then how do you keep yourself motivated during those rocky times?
Yeah. Um, my motivation comes from a lot of places. I'm very sensitive. I'm very flower child kind of girl.
Mhm.
I'm a disciple of Jesus Christ, so my faith means so much to me. It's the foundational bedrock of my life and of my business. And so scripture is one thing that keeps me extremely motivated on hard days and on fun days, because just because the work is fun sometimes doesn't mean like you always feel like doing it. Um,
Right.
so I need motivation on all the days. And I know my faith, scripture, prayer, those kind of things help me out. Peers, industry, people who get it, like yourself,
Mhm.
they keep me motivated. You all remind me that, like, I'm not the only one having a bumpy day. Bumpy days are normal, and I don't need to throw the whole business away if I have one. And then ultimately, my my clients, those people I feel
Mhm.
called to. Again, I mentioned earlier, seeing the vision in your head and not understanding, or not being able in your own strength to logistically put it together and create a plan to actually like achieve that vision is very tough. And so oftentimes I find my clients, or they find me, we come to know each other in a time period where they've been wishing or hoping or praying that someone would come and help them. and then here I am. So that always keeps me motivated, that thought when things are, bumpy, or when I'm in a particularly tough learning phase. I'm always like, it's not about you, Nikki.
Mhm.
Not about you. The lessons that you're learning are a bonus. There, Jesus loves you just like he loves everybody else, so he's going to pour into you. But ultimately, you're called to be an instrument in his hands, and there are people who need you. They need your heart, they need your strategic brain, and they need your partnership. And so now that's the thing that will motivate me the quickest. All of the other things are important, but that's the thing that'll make me go, all right, let's get to it.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So you help your clients with planning so that, their vision can come true. Can
Mhm.
you talk a little bit about the importance of planning? Because, I do similar work as you, and I know that from my experience with clients, sometimes they don't see the importance of planning. They just want to jump in and do and hope that it works out well. So can you talk a little bit about that?
For sure. Talking about planning. If my husband heard you ask me that, he'd be like, don't get her started. It's my favorite thing to talk about, guys. It
Yeah.
really is. Planning is everything. Planning
Hmm.
is everything. When you have a mission, when you have a purpose, when you have a vision, you can get a lot done
Hmm.
just winging it, or just, you wake up in the morning, you go, let's see what the day has for us today. Listen, that's good and great. And I'm not saying things don't get accomplished that way, because they do.
Hmm.
But a plan produces, an intentional and strategic plan produces a momentum that really can't be cultivated by just winging it. It
Mm.
can't be cultivated without being intentional about what it is that you're doing. So you have a mission, you're called to something, whether it's a product, a service, a content that you're releasing, whatever you're putting out into the world. The plan helps make it possible in a tangible way. I
Hmm.
want to do X in 5 years. If you're just winging it without a plan, maybe that happens in 5 years, maybe it happens never.
Right.
But
Hmm.
with a plan, there's some intentional steps that we're taking, and intentional dots that we are connecting, that make it so it is far more likely for your vision to actually come to pass. A plan, to me, is a non-negotiable.
Yeah.
A non-negotiable. Now, have a that is the minimum. That's the basic. A strategic plan. Now we're talking about changing the game. Now we're
Mm.
talking about changing the game. A plan that takes your unique gifts and talents, your unique resources, your unique quirks into play, and assesses the resources that you have at your disposal and the resources that you need. Now that is what I call a strategic plan. And that's the game changer between those who meet their mission and those unfortunately never do.
Mm. Absolutely. I definitely agree with all of that. When it comes to planning, I'm thinking about how you are running a business with multiple clients. You have a family, and you're also an introvert. So I assume that you need time alone to recharge your energy and all of that. And so I'm wondering, just how do you juggle it all? Because I'm single with no kids and I be struggling sometimes. So how do you manage to get everything done, but also get your me time in there?
Oh yeah, that's such a big thing. That's a lesson that entrepreneurship has absolutely helped me learn, and I'm still learning. Um, what I've learned so far is that, Nikki, don't you try to juggle these things, these signs you have in your life, the roles, the hats that you wear. Don't you juggle these things, because your coordination is off and you just drop them off. Instead, lean on the hierarchy. So
Mm.
get some priorities. What is what is at the very, very top, and how does it go from there? That is
Mhm.
the main thing that helps me find that harmony between the roles that I'm called to. So, being a disciple of Christ, just being myself, and the full realization of who God created me to be, that's first. That's on top of literally everything. So that takes into account my me time, my wellness, physically, mentally, spiritually, all that encompasses me fits into the highest priority that's on my list.
Yeah.
And everything else comes under, right? My husband is next, my kids are after that. Family is after that. My clients come after that, right? And so some people might hear that and be like, "Ooh, your clients go on your list." I just have a prioritized life. I have a hierarchy, and I know what's at the top, and I don't get those things confused. So when I need to pour myself out, I start in order. Or at least I try. It's not perfect yet, but I
Yeah.
do start in order. So I start with me. What do you need spiritually? What are you feasting on? What lies or truths are you ingesting? Because that's going to affect your output and what energy you're able to have, and then on down the line. That I feel like is the only way I've been able to meet all of my again, callings. I keep using words like mission and calling and assignment. But those are the bedrock of my belief system. I think that we are all put on this earth for a specific reason. We're given specific resources, and we're supposed to steward them well. And so I'm just out here stewarding my own house well first, and then offering that stewardship, that partnership to other people who just happen to be entrepreneurs. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. I was going to ask if you had any advice for other moms who are trying to juggle or balance it, but I think you've
Yeah.
given a lot of tips based on how you do it, but is there anything else that you would advise other moms?
The hierarchy is, once you get them priorities in order and you start actually living according to your priorities, what's most
Right.
important and down, it really helps. The only other thing I would add, and the thing I'm working on, that's the current season that I'm working on. You
Okay.
got to build your village. You can't find other mom business owners to relate to. It doesn't have to make money. It doesn't have to be a professional business partnership per se. It doesn't have to be referral partner, or she'll sell my product, I'll sell hers. It doesn't have to be anything like that. Just simply a like-minded mom who is also running a business can really be essential, and having many of them, because we're all out there. There's a lot of us, but really building a community, and not leaving those women out, because you need to
Right.
see yourself. Representation matters in all areas. So
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Okay, that's great. Um, what's the what's one of the biggest lessons you've learned throughout your journey so far as an entrepreneur?
Mhm. The biggest lesson I learned is that it's truly not about me. It's truly
Okay.
not about me. Um, and I can't say that it was about me. I just didn't think about that much at all before I like made it official and like, this is a business. It's not just me doing stuff anymore. It's a business. It was really solidified, like, this is about the people that you are called to serve. This is about the clients. It's about the end user, and then the people that they're called to serve. It's a ripple effect. It has, it's bigger than the products that we're selling. It's bigger than the content that we release. God is strategic, and he's the master creator. And so he has weaved all of these things together. This is my belief. He's weaved all of these things together, all of us with our gifts and talents, and called them different areas. And it comes together and forms this big, masterful picture when we all do who we're called to be. And
Right.
so entrepreneurship made that abundantly clear to me, of like, I'm a piece, in this larger, much, much larger picture. And so it did help me with the like, oh, but if I charge people, I'm not helping them. If I blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
No, 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 no. You have to generate revenue to make, it takes money to make money, they say, but it is true. And
Yeah.
so the I'm serving, the creatives that I'm supporting, they have businesses. And if they never grow to a level where they can afford to pay for services, it does speak wellness of their business, the health of their business. A business is not healthy if it never grows to the level where it can actually afford services. And so I'm service to people by being like, oh no, I got your back. Don't worry about it. No,
Right.
no, no. I've done that phase of my life. now it's time to go, here's the product, here's the price. What is our budget looking like? And if we can't afford this, what can we afford? And how can we grow to be able to get closer to our needs in terms of money? Because business is about generating a profit, generating revenue. And so we want to do that. We want to be healthy businesses.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So then what is your proudest accomplishment?
Honestly, okay, this is going to be sort of a long answer, but I come from a family of entrepreneurs. That's why I've been doing this work for all my life. When I say that, I think people think like, okay, yeah, all your life, sure. No, everybody around me has always owned a business and sold something, a good, a service, or otherwise, both
Right.
large scale and small scale. But I want to be sensitive when I say this. Although I come from a family of entrepreneurs on both my mom and dad's side, I don't come from a family of wealth through entrepreneurship.
Okay.
Right? I think only one person in my family was ever able to take their business and their vision to a place where it was actually wealthy, where it could jobs for other people, ongoing sustainable jobs, where it could generate profit for them so that they can have money to like live an abundant life. I'm not surrounded by a family of that, or those examples in my close proximity.
Okay.
And so I consider myself a first generation wealthy entrepreneur, to be quite honest.
Mm-hmm.
I'm from a family of entrepreneurs, but wealthy entrepreneurs, not so much. And so my proudest is simply starting my business and setting up those foundations the right way. I had such attached to what I feel is my destiny. I think that's why I didn't charge money for so long too, because I'm like, well, if I just do it, then it's just me serving. But once I put a label on it, then I'll have to like succeed at it and all this pressure. And I was like, no. I want to rewrite that part of our legacy. We own businesses, also eat off of these businesses, and we also feed others off of these businesses. We don't just own businesses.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to rewrite that story for my children and their children and their children, their children. And outside of that, also the children in my community, those who see me, those in my ecosystem that I'm around, they'll see as well. Like, oh, this is possible. Owning a business you don't have to live in poverty and lack, even though you own a business. That could be a way to produce wealth. And not only financial wealth, but wellness. So wealth of time, wealth of finances, wealth of health, wealth of knowledge, learning how to build a sustainable business, and then teaching the people coming behind me to build sustainable businesses so that they never have to live in lack again. That's my proudest accomplishment, starting. My foundations of my business are set up. I'm not illegally operating out here in these Houston streets. Like, it's a real legit business, and it's only getting better, and I'm only getting better. And I'm very proud of that.
Yeah, absolutely. You definitely should be proud of that, Nikki. You're doing amazing work and definitely are a great role model for generations to come. Well, it has been really great chatting with you. But before we go, I wanted to just give you an opportunity to share where our listeners can find more information about you. And if you have anything coming up that you want us to look out for, feel free to share that as well.
Yeah, definitely. Anyone that wants to connect with me can find everything that they could possibly need on my website, thrivesupport.net. .net. Don't hit me with .com, y'all. You won't find me. So thrivesupport.net is where you can find everything you ever want to find. I love to hang out on YouTube, and I love to hang out on Instagram. And my podcast, if it's not yet live at the time of this recording, it will be live at the time of this release, most likely. And so you can definitely find information for the podcast on my website as well.
Excellent. We'll definitely check that out. And also, Nikki is our cover story for the May-June 2023 issue of Building Her Dream magazine. So be sure to check out her interview in that issue. It has been a pleasure chatting with you, Nikki. Thank you for joining us.
No, thank you. I had so much fun.
You're welcome. And thank you all for listening. This has been another episode of the Building Her Dream podcast. If you've enjoyed it, why don't you go ahead and subscribe, leave us a review, and stay up to date with what we're doing by visiting www.buildingherdream.com.